This is something that quite a few people in the industry have been talking about. Many of you know that the that Fast Car Company published an article in the last week or so,
Mhm.
essentially saying that we need to do away with cheap disposable swag. Now, I don't want to like rehash this entire topic because I think that there have been some great pieces of content out there.
Yeah.
My take on this is
Mhm.
I was actually excited about that. I was excited about the way that our industry responded. PPAI
Right.
did a really nice article. ASI came out with something. commonsku wrote like a dissertation, beautiful thing with Bobby and Mark that they wrote. I saw a podcast with Rich Graham where he was on there talking about just kind of
Yeah.
responding to the idea that we want to, get rid of that Fast Company says that they want to get rid of cheap disposable swag. And I love my first take on it was I just love to see the pride and sort of the responsiveness of our industry. I'm not sure that was there 10 or 15 years ago because I feel like there's a renewed sense of, hey, what we do matters. So that's exciting. But my take on it, I wanted
Mhm.
to kind of jump in because the whole thing is they want to get rid of the article's author wants to get rid of trade show merchandise that is wasteful. And
Mhm.
as I think my friend Rich Graham said, no shit. Of course, the kind of merchandise, the kind of swag that doesn't hit the mark that ends up in trash cans, yeah, of course, right?
Yeah.
But that not all inexpensive merchandise is like that. But what she's doing is saying, look, the worst of our industry is bad. So you should get rid of the industry. And I'm like, well, that's
Mhm.
great logic. So I wanted to give us the
Yeah.
opportunity to look at other industries that, because of their very worst, we should get rid of the whole damn industry. Okay. So I'm going to give you a couple
All right.
and
Yep.
you can jump in whenever you're ready. All right. So,
I
for
will.
example, email. Some people
Mhm.
spam, they
Mhm.
send out unsolicited emails. So, email marketing should, of course,
Get rid
go
of it.
away
Get
forever.
rid of it.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
Get rid of it.
Okay. Okay. Um, loud used car sales like radio and TV ads, those are really annoying. So I think all marketing that happens on radio and television obviously needs to go away, right?
Out the door. Get rid of it. Done.
Okay.
Canceled.
How about articles in magazines that are repeated? That, lazy journalism that's clickbaity. Since some journalists do that, we should probably get rid of all magazines as well.
Yeah.
So those are my
Yeah.
three examples so far. I've got others, but I didn't know if any pop into your head.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, some journalists like this journalist who recycled for the most part, an article that was written 2 years ago that prompted great response from the industry. And like you said, let me touch on the first thing you said.
Yeah.
I love the galvanizing of our industry
Oh,
when things like this happen. And I can't remember the author's name. I think it's Elizabeth something or other. I'd really Elizabeth Sagrin, I think is correct.
I believe you.
She wrote an article very similar to this 2 years ago. In fact, when I first saw it, someone actually called me out on the promotional products page. Hey, Bill, what's your take on this? We'd love to see you write something about it. And my first thing, and I actually wrote it and then had to change it. I glanced at the article and go, this is just a repeat of the same article of 2 years ago.
Right.
That prompted great response from Mark Graham. They were on, she was on a SKU cast. In fact, she was even invited to speak at a SKU event
Yeah.
about this. And I felt like there was this meeting of the minds. And then this article, and then I read it again, realized it's just an updated version of that
Right.
article. And I don't know if she was tight against a deadline or whatever. Um, but it annoys me. And I think your analogy is a delicious one. It's perfect, right? You can't always throw the baby out with the bathwater, and that's what she's advocating here. None of us like ineffective promo. None of us like to sell crap that's not helpful in furthering the messaging of the client. That's not what we're trying to do. Do
Of
we
course.
always hit the mark? Absolutely not. We're
Right.
human, and that's part of the human condition, right? When we make mistakes. But you don't throw away the bourbon industry just because Rebel Yell is out there, okay? You, yeah, you don't throw away the music industry because Milli Vanilli was a thing once upon a time. You don't throw away the movie industry just because Top Gun Maverick was made, right? You have
Stop.
to. I'm joking, but you don't throw away the movie industry because of Ishtar,
Yeah.
right? A famously horrible movie. So I think it's important that we look at what we're doing and try to minimize the negative effect of bad promo. And I think as an industry, we do a pretty good job of that. So kudos to, so I ended up not writing something because by the time I started writing things, Mark and Bobby from
Yeah.
Comments You had already responded. Tim Anders from ASI had already responded. And I'm like, what am I going to say that those guys haven't already said?
Right.
So I'm 100% with you here. I don't get the point of the article, especially again after the outcry from 2 years ago. I felt there was this meeting of the minds, so I was gobsmacked when I saw that it was her writing this article again, or recycling an article.
Yeah. And so this is one of those audience participation ones for me. So if you want to give us some in the comments, I would love to hear the things that we should get rid of because there's something bad. So for example, my other example is, government agencies are sort of famous for coming out and saying, okay, we're not going to do merchandise anymore because we don't be wasteful, which is fine. As long as you say that government agencies that don't use our funds wisely, we have to get rid of the whole government. And so again, throwing the baby out with the bathwater, like you said, it's just not great business.
No, and maybe we should get rid of clickbait, because that's what that article was. Nothing more, nothing less. And honestly, she won. We're talking about it. So is Rich. So is everybody else. So congratulations, Fast Company, for being really great journalists. Bill said sarcastically.